So, do you understand the difference between a truth and a lie?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me what the truth means to you.
A truth is what actually happened.
Okay. And what's a lie mean?
Something that's made up or not true.
Okay.
Welcome to Necro Narratives. Today, we'll be talking about Jesse Stone, so let's get into it. It was a chilling night in June 2014 when the call came in. A 91-year-old woman in Florida had reported that she had been sexually assaulted. Deputies rushed to her home, unsure of what they would find. The officers secured the crime scene immediately, trying to piece together what had happened. They carefully began walking around the property, looking for any signs of the attacker. The scene was tense. There were so many questions, but no clear answers. It was late and the urgency in the air was palpable. Who could do this to a woman so old? The officers were quickly making sure to keep the area safe and prevent anything from being disturbed. It was clear that she needed to be rushed to the hospital. They made sure someone went with her to provide comfort and support. While others continued their work at the crime scene, the officers couldn't help but feel the weight of the crime they were investigating. Then, just as they were gathering information, a key piece of the puzzle emerged. The boy suspected of committing the crime, Jesse Stone, was only 14 years old. He had been staying with his grandparents and it appeared he was the one responsible for the assault. Detectives knew that they needed to get to the truth. They couldn't let a child like Jesse get away with something so horrific. The questioning began and it was clear this was not going to be an easy case. Jesse's grandmother was there, witnessing everything as detectives pressed him for answers. The boy remained silent at first, unsure of what to say, but the pressure built as detectives pushed him harder. Jesse Stone, once a seemingly innocent 14-year-old, now faced the reality of what he had done. He would likely spend many years in prison, and the community would never forget the horror that had unfolded on that night. This was a very serious situation. The police knew they had to act fast, especially with the fear that the attacker might still be on the loose, putting the whole neighborhood at risk. The elderly woman, 91 years old, was still shaken and hurt when she spoke to the officers. She described the attack, telling them how she saw a shadow coming toward her in the night.
So she saw a shadow approaching her, and all of a sudden he just started like wailing on her. She's significantly injured in her face and got a big gash on her arm. She's 91 years old. So she says that the guy sounded Hispanic and he was telling her to be still and penetrated her with his fingers. And she said that he felt like he was not erect, but maybe trying to be. She said it lasted about 15,
That's hard?
Yeah.
Yeah, she says he never took off his pants.
She said he never took off his pants and it lasted about 15-20 minutes.
Afterward, he quickly left the house, disappearing just 5 to 10 minutes before the deputies arrived. The police had to collect evidence right away. They carefully searched the house for anything that could help identify the attacker. Blood was found on the woman's bed and her clothing was bagged for further investigation. Everything the woman described seemed to match the evidence they were finding. A neighbor also shared a key detail.
Did you see anybody run through here or anything?
Not to my yard, but then again, I went in the house at 9:30 to eat dinner.
Okay.
And came back out with my son and said he saw all the cars come up here.
Okay.
And I was sitting there for a minute. And
Your son live here too?
Huh?
Your son live here too?
Yeah, my son lives here. My daughter and son-in-law are down here from West Virginia on vacation.
Okay.
There was a car earlier that came up there, like, it was still daylight out there, but I think that was one of her friends.
Okay. I think
it looked familiar, like I've seen the car before.
Okay.
But nobody's been in my yard because I got dogs out and stuff.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I've known this lady since I was 10 years old.
Okay. I mean, it appears somebody was over there messing with the house, so.
That lady's daughters wanted her to move so many times out of here too. She kept saying no, no, no.
As the investigation continued, the police focused on gathering more information from the neighbors. They wanted to know if anyone had seen anything unusual or if anything stood out that might help identify the attacker. One neighbor was questioned about what they had seen. They said they hadn't noticed anything strange.
I was out in the back working in my shop. I guess when all this was going down, I never heard nobody yell or anything. That's what was weird.
During the night?
Yeah, last night.
I didn't come in till 9:30. Came back outside, and then Did the says all these lights going up the road? That's when I came back out and talked to you.
Did the deputies talk to you last
Well, I
night?
gave them my name and stuff. Yeah, they just said, "Did you see anything?" I said, "No, I didn't see nothing." And they can't come through my yard. Them two are out.
Sure.
Unless they jump fences. So.
Okay. Do you guys have video surveillance?
Well, I got a set, but I don't have them up there. I'm crippled, so I've been trying to.
The details of the victim's account were chilling. She explained when the attacker suddenly jumped on top of her, she immediately fought back. She tried to push him off in an effort to protect herself, but it was clear that the attack was terrifying and violent. The woman's bravery and quick thinking in such a horrific moment would play a crucial role in the investigation as it moved forward. It was a quiet night and the 91-year-old woman was lying in her bed at home. Out of nowhere, a man attacked her, striking her face with his fist. Terrified, she told him to get off, but he just ignored her and told her to shut up. She prayed over and over, "Dear God, please help me." But her cries went unheard. The man tore off her underwear and assaulted her. Then, just as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The man left the house and she was left alone, terrified and shaken. 8 days later, the DNA test confirmed that Jesse Stone's DNA was found on the 91-year-old victim. The police quickly brought him in, handcuffed him and sat him down alone in a room. They left him there for a while. It was cold in the room with the air conditioning blasting.
Man, you doing all right? You need anything? All right, Jesse, I'm Ryan, and we're gonna come in here and talk to you just a little bit, okay? We're waiting for your mom to get over here, just so we can all be here and talk and figure out what's going on, all right? You sure you don't want water or anything? Okay, if you need some, just give this door a little knock, all right?
After more than 2 hours, they moved him to another room where his grandmother arrived. One of the detectives, trying to ease the tension, started talking to Jesse.
Jesse, I'm going to ask you some questions that might seem a little bit weird, but this is just to help me understand and to make sure that I'm on the same page as you. So, do you understand the difference between a truth and a lie?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me what the truth means to you.
The truth is what actually happened.
Okay. And what's a lie mean?
Something that's made up or not true.
Okay.
The detective made sure to read Jesse his rights and then asked about what happened that night, the night the elderly woman was attacked. "Do you remember that night?" they asked. Jesse seemed calm as he answered.
Do you remember that night? So when I showed you that video of you walking, so that would have been late Saturday night.
Yes.
Do you remember everything that you did that night?
Yeah, I couldn't go to sleep, so I got up and I headed down the road to watch the cars that were coming from the concert. I've watched them, the cars looking for modified vehicles for a while, and then I went walking across the street for, I'm guessing, an hour before I came back to my house.
The detectives had already seen Jesse on video walking through the neighborhood that night. He confirmed seeing the elderly woman hours before the attack. The victim, who had told detectives about the boy she knew as Randy John, had mentioned seeing him on her front porch while sitting in her rocking chair. Jesse admitted that the last time he saw her before that night was about a week and a half earlier.
So what was the last time, like, before then, when you had seen her, or I guess talked with her, like, kind of like you did that day?
The last time I'd seen her before that was probably about, I want to say, a week and a half before. She was driving down the road from like church or something.
Oh, okay.
And she just stopped and said hi real quick. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, do you remember the last time, like, my understanding when we spoke the first time, and correct me if I got this wrong, that you, when you were younger, you used to go over and talk with her quite a bit.
Yeah, I'd go over, talk, help her.
The detectives then asked Jesse if he had ever helped the victim with household chores.
So she's never asked for your help to do those types of, like, household chores, so like laundry or whatever? Okay.
No, I've helped with the laundry machine, but not to do laundry.
Not like you've never done her laundry for her, bed sheets or anything like that?
No.
The detectives continued to press Jesse Stone, asking him more about his involvement.
You've never, like, taken a nap or slept in any of her bedrooms or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Do you remember if you've ever been in any of those bedrooms?
No.
No.
No. I've never been in any room other than the living room, kitchen, the bathroom.
Okay.
But the detectives were convinced and they made it clear they had a reason for asking.
I think you probably know that I wouldn't ask that question unless I had a reason to.
Okay.
So, I'm just going to be honest with you because, I feel like you've been mostly honest with me. And I know your mom's been honest with me. Is it okay if I call you his mom?
Yeah.
Guardian? Okay, I don't mean to.
It's okay, yeah.
But when I came over to you on,
Yeah.
I think that was Sunday, and I was asking you about your clothes and the video and such, and I explained that I wanted to get your DNA because I knew that you had been over there before because you mentioned, like you told us today, that you had talked with her. So I knew that at the very least there would be evidence of you being in the porch.
Yeah.
Right? So I went and met with your mom, and you guys signed a consent form, and we got your DNA. Okay.
The detectives also mentioned they had sent the DNA to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for testing. Then came the critical moment. The detective revealed that Jesse's DNA was found on the victim's underwear.
Is there any reason at all that your DNA would be on her clothes?
Yeah, we when I said goodbye to her, we hugged, like a slight hug.
Okay.
That's
Let me be a little bit more specific. Your DNA was on her underwear.
What?
And so I want you to really use this time here to be honest with me about what happened that night, because I think that we know what happened, and I think that your mom knows what happened because she also wrote down a list of times that you went in and out of the house that night, to include the time that the call came in.
Jesse's expression shifted, and the detectives were hoping that this would lead him to tell the truth. The detective continued, his voice steady but firm. I think you understand by now that we wouldn't have brought you here unless we had a solid reason. We've got the proof, and you know it. Jesse seemed to struggle with what he was hearing.
I don't see. What?
It's not about see, Mary John. It's truth.
Yeah, truth. It's impossible for my DNA to be on her underwear.
That's what we like to think too, brother, but that stuff doesn't lie, that stuff doesn't get made up. Sometimes the truth can be hard. You seem like a really good guy, man. You seem like you got a good head on your shoulders, you can make connections with people that need help, you go out there and you help other people. And there's people out there sometimes that make mistakes, man.
I'm gonna come over here and I want to make sure.
That doesn't make you a bad person for making a mistake.
The detective then showed Jesse a series of photos of the victim, explaining the brutal details of what had happened to her.
I don't... And we don't think that that was the intention. But we need to understand what happened now.
Randy, I want to be real clear with you. We know what happened. What I want to hear from your own words, everything that went on that night.
God. Holy cow.
I want to know why this happened.
Randy, help us understand, man.
Randy.
There was silence for a moment. The detective then leaned in.
Randy, look at me for a second. You did this exact same thing when I asked you about you walking down the road or jogging down the road at 11 o'clock. And you did the whole, I don't remember, and I was like, and you finally admitted to it. And I think this is the exact same thing. I know what happened. And it's only going to help you for you to be honest with me about what happened. Because like I said, we know what happened because we have your DNA at the crime scene.
Like you said, it's not like we're talking about a sweater that it was found on. It's in this elderly woman's underwear. What are you thinking, man? We're putting everything out here and you're kind of just looking at all this, man. I know it might be a shock, but what are you thinking?
I'm overly confused.
What are you confused about?
Jesse sat there, his face showing disbelief.
I wasn't even near her house. I was across the street.
A whole hour. You were gone.
Yeah. I said I was gone for about an hour.
Mom, I don't know if you want to have a couple minutes to talk with your son. Randy, I want you to think real long and hard about everything that happened. And I want to do this, listen, more than I want to have the truth from you about what happened, because I know that you know what happened, I want to do this for her. If she is as an amazing of a person as you say she is, and I believe you because I've talked with her.
I didn't do it, Randy said, his voice cracking. I can't even imagine doing something like that. I don't have it in me. Randy's grandmother, who had been quiet until then, leaned in.
Don't say why's, Reddy John, because why doesn't exist here.
I wasn't at her house.
Reddy John, it's across the street.
He looked up at her, his face a mix of confusion and disbelief.
Look at her. Look at her. Look at her face.
I don't even think like that.
I've never seen you hurt anybody, but...
Randy stared at the photo, his chest tightening. He couldn't escape the truth any longer. His grandmother's voice grew more firm.
I don't want to hurt
What the hell are you doing outside at that time of night? It doesn't make any sense, do you understand? Reddy John, it doesn't make any sense. There's a million different things you could do. Being outside where you don't belong, and you know you don't belong out there.
I'm sorry, but I'm an outdoorsy person.
You're not an outdoorsy person. You're a sit in front of the TV kind of guy.
I don't have TV. I'm outside.
Randy looked away, unable to argue any further. He was trapped in his own lies, and deep down, he knew it was time to face the truth. The room was tense, and Grandma's voice shook as she spoke.
I hope and pray you did not do this to this woman. I hope and pray. I hope and pray you did not do this. Because this is horrific. This is a human being. And she deserves justice. She does. If this would have happened to your sister, what would you do?
Murder whoever did.
If you know anything about this, Randy John, for her at least, if you care about her, tell the truth. Tell the truth.
No,
We've been down that road before where you've been lying about something and you swear up and Randy John, you've lied about stuff before.
Grandma's voice echoed in his mind. Detectives, noticing the tension, took over the conversation. They turned to Randy, a 14-year-old boy, and began talking to him directly. They mentioned things about his life, his thoughts, his curiosity about women.
I just got done talking to your mom, and she said that, I mean, you're 14, right? I think every 14-year-old's had some thoughts about what a woman's like and things like that, and I heard that you've been kind of exploring some nudity and pornography. Is that what's going on, man?
Randy shifted uncomfortably, but nodded slightly.
You almost got no reason to lie to me, and you have no reason to lie to me about that either. That's totally normal and totally fine. So is that something I heard you taking Grandpa's phone and taking a look at that?
No, I don't do it on Grandpa's phone. I haven't been able to do it since I had my computer because she takes everything away.
Yeah. Well, is it true that you were looking at some of that stuff? Like I said, it's totally normal, man. Okay.
The detective leaned in, trying to make him feel comfortable.
Like I said, and I think like Detective Hardigan said, it's totally normal to want to find out about these things, especially for someone it seems like you really truly cared about this woman.
Yeah.
And maybe you just wanted to figure out what was what, man.
Randy didn't say much after that. He just sat there thinking about the words that hung in the air. The silence between them felt like a weight.
Maybe you went into there, you didn't expect her to be awake. And so you freaked out. And you panicked. Because that's what it looks like. Is that this was oh shit. And then maybe you just flopped around not expecting her to, maybe you just wanted to knock her out. You didn't think you would hurt her this bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got out of there.
The detectives were trying to make him feel comfortable, like maybe he hadn't meant for things to go the way they did.
What we're trying to figure out, Randy John, is like Detective Hardigan said, like we're pretty certain of what happened. What we're trying to figure out is Randy John the kind of guy that breaks into people's houses with axes and chops them up into pieces and leaves them and murders them? Or did Randy John just make a mistake? Did he go into a house and expect this 91-year-old woman to be sleeping and maybe figure out something about life, and then things just went awry? Because thing is, people panic, man. And people do things that they don't mean and they don't want to do when they panic.
Finally, Randy spoke, his voice soft. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. The detectives then asked him about something else, something they had heard about from others. We heard you were watching some stuff on the victim's iPad. Is that true? Randy nodded. I watched it. I went into her room after that. I just didn't think it would go like that. As the conversation went on, the detective asked him more personal questions.
You mind if I give you some more stuff? Sure. So, how old were you when you started watching the porn videos?
My friend showed them to me when I was 10.
10. So you've been watching them since you were 10?
Off and on, yeah.
Okay. How often do you think you were watching them before you got put on restriction?
Once or twice a week.
Okay.
The detective leaned forward. What kind of stuff were you watching? Pictures? Videos?
And what kind of stuff were you watching? Looking at pictures? Were you watching videos?
A mix of both.
Mix of both. Okay. And what site did you normally use?
The XNXX.
XNXX. And that's all it's called? You just put that into Google, XNXX?
Yeah, that was the website my friend showed me.
Okay.
The detectives kept talking to him, trying to understand more. Randy confessed to everything and the truth started to come out. In December, Randy John pleaded guilty to the charges. At just 15 years old, he would be sentenced next month, facing the consequences of his actions. Thank you for watching Necronaries. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe for more. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.